we see Frank Costello, one of the most feared mafia bosses to ever exist in Boston. He is seen collecting money from local vendors and storekeepers in exchange for protection in his neighborhood. One day, while collecting money, Frank finds an orphan named Colin Sullivan. He adopts Colin and begins polluting his mind from a young age, intending to make him his successor. Now the scene fast-forwards to a few years ahead, and we see Colin all grown up. He enrolls himself in the police academy, where he trains with more devotion than anyone else in his batch. Someone named William Costigan joins the same academy. Colin and William never cross paths during their period. At last, they graduate and become real cops. When Frank comes to pick Colin up, it becomes clear that Frank wanted Colin to become a cop so he could have his own mole in the police. Now, Colin joins a special police unit and starts his first day by greeting the special unit's captain, Queenan, and Unit Sergeant Dignam. They humble him with some harsh talk and send him out to start from the bottom to work his way up. After Colin, William goes to see the captain next. Dignam and Queenan treat him totally differently than Colin. Later, all the new recruits are gathered by Captain Ellerby, who vaguely brings to everyone's attention some high-profile criminals that the police are trying to capture with the cooperation of the FBI. Frank also happens to be on the high-profile criminal list, which brings a grin to Colin's face. Ellerby also points at an FBI agent, who is currently working in the same special unit as Colin. He now dismisses everyone and asks them to look into the high-profile criminals thoroughly to find a way to capture them. On the other hand, Dignam grills William and does not let him off the hook until he spills why he is becoming a cop when he clearly has a shady past. William gets a flashback of his dying mother and his corrupt uncle hovering over them, asking William hundreds of questions to keep an eye on him. That day, William speaks up for himself and waits for his mother's death to cut off all ties with his uncle. In the present, Colin is seen picking out the most expensive steak in his town for independent living, but with Frank's secret financial help. On William's side, he mourns his mother at her funeral and notes that Frank has sent flowers for the departed. When William returns to work, he is told by Queenan that he is going undercover for an assignment and is being temporarily sent to jail for his undercover identity to have a criminal record. After his release, he deliberately rekindles his relationship with his cousin, who is a small-time criminal. William makes him believe that he is a crooked cop, so his cousin starts involving him in criminal activities that help William infiltrate Frank's criminal circle. During this period, he has to deal with a shady man who emasculates him. William does not tolerate him and nearly beats him to death in a bar. This brutal action is noticed by Mr. French, who happens to be Frank's henchman. French finds William ballsy and takes him under his wings. Meanwhile, capturing Frank becomes the police's highest priority after learning that Frank has stolen a huge shipment of microprocessors, which he is planning on selling to China. Later, Colin is assigned a theft case, which also involves murder. When he goes to the dead victim's house to investigate, Frank passes by that house with the woman's girlfriend as his hostage. Seeing that, the woman instantly shuts the door on Colin's face. When he returns to the HQ, he bumps into police psychiatrist Madeline in a crowded elevator and immediately becomes infatuated with her. While Colin shifts his attention to Madeline and starts hanging out with her, William becomes Frank's lackey and begins collecting protection money from the vendors on Frank's behalf. He ends up roughing up two Italian gangsters and fracturing his hand in the act. Due to which Frank pays him a personal visit for the first time. He offers his support and help in getting rid of the Italians before they come for William's throat, but before that, he has the French search William. They also hurt his fractured hand while interrogating him because they think he might be a mole. William endures pain and lies to their face to earn their trust. Frank admires his ballsy nature and makes him an official member of his syndicate. He also kills the Italians for him and frames innocent men to take the blame. Here, Colin manages their arrest process to keep the real thing under the blanket. While Frank and French laugh about the men they just framed, William takes off his wire and tosses it in the water. He then calls Dignam and tells him to contact him through a phone because wearing a wire in the syndicate is dangerous for him. Queenan and Dignam bring to his attention that they have bigger fish to fry because Frank is selling military technology to the Chinese, which puts their country in jeopardy. While William continues to get his hands dirty for the police, Colin creates his own small sub-unit to secretly cover for Frank's crimes. While William becomes Frank's wingman. Colin's team captures Frank's lackey. Colin tells him about the upcoming raid and sets him free so he can relay it to Frank. While Colin gets to live his best life with Madeline, William's mental health takes a toll from seeing Frank commit numerous atrocities. Hence, the police fix him a session with Madeline. He shares with her how the lines are becoming blurred and how he doesn't know which side he is truly on.
Ain't gonna hurt you.
Hence, Madeline prescribes him antipsychotics. Later, he meets with Queenan and Dignam at a private location and angrily confronts them regarding Frank's arrest. He frustratingly asks why the police are taking no action when he's been providing them all the information for over a year. That's when Queenan calms him down and reveals that they have an undetected mole inside the police, which is why they must move carefully. As time passes, he even picks a fight with Madeline and forces her to prescribe her a stronger medication. Simultaneously, Ellerby prepares a sting operation to capture Frank right before his trade with the Chinese. Seeing police have this much info on Frank, Colin gets convinced that the police have their mole inside Frank's syndicate. So he calls Frank to let him know. Now the cops and Frank do what they have to do to save their skins. While Colin and the cops monitor Frank's live activity through surveillance, Frank changes location at the last minute. He slips from the cops' hands once again, and the cops return home disappointed. Once this is over, William continues to play dirty to maintain his cover, which affects his mental health further. He begins persuading Madeline into a relationship with him, which eventually works out, and the two make love on Colin's bed. The following day, Colin meets up with Frank at an adult cinema, where he tells Frank that he thinks Queenan has a mole planted in his syndicate. Otherwise, he wouldn't be getting his private locations. Due to this, Frank begins suspecting William again, but William acts offended in front of him and denies any links with the cops. Soon, Frank plays sneakily and tells William that he is excluding him from his next projects. Worried, William relays this news to Queenan, not knowing that Frank deliberately said those things to see if the word reaches the police. Simultaneously, Colin has doubts about William and has him followed. He also asks his surveillance unit to keep an eye on William. When William secretly meets up with Queenan, his identity is blown to Colin. Colin is quick to relay this information to Frank. Meanwhile, William expresses to Queenan that he is on the verge of a full mental collapse due to this mission. Suddenly, Frank's men arrive there, so William manages to escape through the emergency staircase. As he's walking away, the men push Queenan off the roof, and his body lands in front of William. He begins to tear up and goes into a state of shock. Colin's surveillance men witness this. When Frank's men find William crying on the street, they take him to his van. The surveillance team has no idea that Colin is making them do the wrong things, so they go after the gang and engage in a vigorous crossfire. After Queenan's death, Dignam finds out that Colin's unit was following him, so he comes for his throat. But the people around them push him away. Hence he quits the police force. William is also questioned by the gang members, so he lies once again and tries to hide why he was found crying. Later, William meets his associate, who has also been shot by the gang. He tells William that he was receiving misleading directions this entire time. Before he can reveal more, he dies. Up next, Colin and William both try to access Queenan's case files. Colin calls on Queenan's personal phone, and William answers, so his identity finally gets blown. He warns Frank about William, but Frank thinks he can manage it by himself. On the contrary, Madeline breaks up with William, which adds to the pain he is already in. Colin calls William once again and tells him that he is the next in line after Queenan, so he must take his orders. He orders William to investigate Queenan's murder as his next mission. Poor William has no idea that it is all a setup and that Colin is on the other end of the phone. Colin also reveals that Frank is a secret FBI informant, which is why he's been getting away every time. Now, the police find William's associate's body and make him the official mole so Frank can stop suspecting William. However, Frank knows it is not the truth. He calls Colin to confront him, but Colin grows suspicious of Frank. The cops use their source to bust a drug deal of Frank's. But he manages to run away. Colin privately meets Frank and demands to know the truth. That's when Frank admits being an FBI informant, but he does swear that he never did anything to hurt Colin. Colin gets on Frank's bad side even after the confrontation, so Frank attempts to shoot him. However, Colin shoots him first. When Frank's death is made public, Colin is praised as a hero. After that, William goes back to the police station and keeps looking into the matter. After providing Colin Queenan's password, he discovers an envelope connected to Frank's private documents, leading him to conclude that Colin is the mole. Colin also starts to suspect that William has discovered the truth, and in order to remove evidence of his undercover identity, he erases William's police records. William gives Madeline an envelope holding proof and tells her to open it if he gets in danger. Later, Madeline learns that she is pregnant with Colin's child. When he leaves after celebrating this, Madeline opens William's envelope and plays the recording in it, which exposes Colin's collaboration with Frank. Equipped with the truth, William approaches Colin near the location of Queenan's death, brandishes a gun at him, and threatens to take him to the police station in order to expose his crimes and bring about justice. Colin claims that since he erased William's documents, there is no evidence that William was an undercover agent, hence, it is useless. William calls in another officer and reveals that the man attended the police academy with him and can confirm his identity. William seems to be supported by the officer, and the three of them head downstairs. Colin keeps asking William to shoot him along the way, but William is adamant about using the legal system to prosecute him. Tragedy strikes as they get to the elevator. William is shot dead by a waiting cop as soon as the doors open. The shooter admits that he was Frank's covert employee. He also murders the other officer a short while later. Colin shoots the gunman and eliminates all direct ties to Frank's organization. William is given a police burial in recognition of his valor and sacrifice when police find sufficient evidence to establish that he was an undercover agent. Madeline decides to break up with Colin after hearing about his alliance with Frank on William's recording. Colin returns home, thinking he has avoided punishment, but before he can defend himself, Dignam approaches and murders him. Here, the film ends.
Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recaps like that.